Welcome to Cash in the Celebrity Attic, the programme that hunts for valuables in the homes of the famous and then sells them with them at auction so that we can raise money for their favourite charities. And on this rather wet and miserable morning, I'm about to meet a really sunny lady whose passion is food. She was born in Wiltshire. Her mother was a famous cookery writer, her father a poet. She began her career in the world of pop, making music videos with the likes of Paul Weller and Bonnie Tyler. But it's in the world of food where she's really made a name for herself, writing 14 cookery books and presenting a number of television cookery programmes. Have you worked out who it is yet? Today I'm in Oxfordshire and I'm about to meet that wonderful cook, Sophie Grigson. Sophie's culinary career began when she was commissioned to write for the Sunday Express in 1983. Since then, she's written a number of best-selling cookery books, and in 1993 she made her television debut with her own series on Channel 4. She lives in this attractive cottage in Oxfordshire with her two children, Florence and Sydney, and an assortment of much-loved family pets. Coming up on today's Cash in the Celebrity Attic, memories come flooding back for Sophie when she says goodbye to one of her beloved items.
I haven't looked at this for so long. I think I wrote my first book on it, in fact.
And she's not too impressed when John turns up a very special piece of jewellery.
Where did you find that?
In your daughter's bedroom.
That's not where it's meant to be.
And at auction, there's food for thought when one of our lots is shown to the room.
Are you a blancmange man?
I am, and I don't think there's enough blancmange in the world.
I agree.
It needs to make a comeback.
So the question is, will we have reached our target when the final hammer falls? Good morning, John.
Good morning, Angela.
It's Battle of the Brollies this morning, isn't it?
It's frightful, isn't it?
But don't you worry, because I have a feeling that inside this house there's going to be an especially warm and cosy kitchen.
I hope you're right. Let's find out.
Sophie's home is packed to the rafters with trinkets and collectables. So I'm rather glad that her friend Jojo has volunteered to lend a hand with today's rummage. Sophie!
Hello!
I might have guessed I'd find you in the kitchen with Jojo, but I mean, because food and cooking is what you do for a living, presumably you feel very comfortable in the kitchen, or do you think of it as sort of living over the shop a bit?
Well, it's a bit of both. No, I love kitchens, and it's where the family lives the most of our lives. My kids come and do the homework here. It's great, I love it.
And presumably, Jojo, you and your other friends all come here and have had some pretty spectacular meals in this room, haven't you?
Yes, fantastic meals, but it's always very casual, you know. Sophie will say, oh, I'll just, create something.
Well, she just sort of throws a few things in a pot.
Just goes and rummages around in the fridge and brings out something, does a bit of slicing, puts it on the table, and it's fantastic.
So tell me more about the charity that we're raising money for today. What is it?
Well, we're going to be raising money for the kids' cookery school in Acton, and it's not just any old cookery school. The thing that's fantastic about this place is it gives cookery lessons to children who wouldn't otherwise get a chance to cook, who may never see parents cooking. Very much supporting local schools, and it makes a difference in people's lives.
And how much do we think we're going to raise?
I'm aiming for a neat £500.
Give me an idea of how that money might be spent.
It'll pay for ingredients and just for the real basics to get kids understanding a bit about food.
Well, somebody who loves food but also likes antiques and collectibles is John, who's already hard at work. So should we go and find him? I think you might have to cook something up for him before the day's end.
Come on, let's go and see what he's found.
Well, I'm not surprised that we've got a food-themed charity today. Hoping to cook up a storm is our expert, John Cameron. He's got 24 years' experience in the antiques trade, buying and selling since the tender age of 16. So you found something already, John?
I have. You've got lots of wonderful little cubby holes here where I'm hoping to find other things, but we've got something here already.
Yeah, it's, I think, my great-grandmother's coin case.
It is a silver sovereign case. And these would have been very popular in Victorian and later times and modelled as a fob watch, so it would have been suspended on an Albert chain and tucked into your waistcoat pocket like that on your opposing side to your fob watch. And it is hallmarked on the inside there with a Birmingham assay mark for 1910, so it's late Edwardian.
So was your great-grandmother the sort of woman who would have carried sovereigns around in something like that?
I have to say, I can't remember her at all, although she died when I was 9, and she was in her 90s then.
Did this come to you with any sovereigns in it?
No, and I did try. Actually, have you got a pound coin? Anybody?
Yeah, I've got a pound.
Oh, because what fascinated me is how small a sovereign must have been, because that won't fit in.
It won't go in there. No, sovereigns are slightly smaller than that. They're a weight rather than a denomination like a crown or something like that.
How many would you have got in there, do you think, John?
Probably about 4. You can find variations on this theme where you have a twin sovereign holder for a full and a half sovereign.
So if we take this to auction, John, what sort of price do you think we might get for it?
Well, I think value-wise today, about the same amount of money as a half sovereign. So somewhere around about the £50 mark. So I'm going to say estimate-wise, £40 to £60 on this, something like that.
Fascinating for something so small.
Yeah, people still do collect them.
So, Sophie, are we going to take this to auction?
I think we should, don't you?
I think we ought to.
That's the first cash in the bank. And with a £500 target to find, I rather hope that the pounds or the sovereigns keep rolling in. We all spread out around the house, and it's Jojo who makes the next find, spotting a trio of ceramic jelly moulds in Sophie's very well-stocked kitchen. Valued at £10 to £15, we're hoping that they'll be to the bidder's taste. Now, is the cook herself doing a spot of furniture removals?
Hey, John.
What have you got there, Sophie?
Oh, look, I've got a child's chair. Isn't this lovely? What do you think?
For auction.
For auction, yeah.
That's a handsome chair. Now, the style of this chair would suggest quite early, around about 1720, but what first thing I always want to do when I have a look at a chair is turn it upside down and have a look underneath at the construction, because it will often tell us a lot about the age of the piece. Now, these corner brackets here, the way they're shaped and actually fit the corner perfectly is something we start to see in the 19th century, the latter part of the 19th century onwards. On Georgian chairs, it was a straight bracket across with a gap behind, like a brace almost, that you'd see on a gallows bracket. And also there's a rippling along that top, the rail there. Can you see that?
Oh, yes.
Well, that's sign of machine production. So we know it's a later piece. Turn it back over. If I can pop it up there. Now, the style of the chair, I would say, is Queen Anne or George I. Early 18th century is the style. Features such as this lovely scrolling in the back where it tapers down, and this lovely flat baluster or vase splat, very typical of Queen Anne chairs. And look at these beautiful shepherd's crook arms, the way they've been shaped there to fit the elbow.
I love that.
Are they wonderful?
They are beautiful. And yes, sadly, my kids are too big for this. So, I think it's something that is ready to go on to maybe another child.
Because of the condition, because of the lovely style, and because of the quality of it, I think we ought to be looking at about £80 to £120 for it.
Fabulous.
You're all right with that?
let's send that off as well then.
Okay, that's fantastic. Well, let me take this and come on, let's see what else we can find.
Okay.
The chair may be small, but the price tag is far from child-sized. And I top up the fund again with this stylish silver-plated jug. We're hoping that John's £15 to £20 valuation won't land us in hot water in the sale room. And Sophie also decides to add this wooden box to the auction haul. John thinks it could have been originally used for stationery, and although its £10 to £15 valuation isn't exactly something to write home about, it is all money in the kitty. With the search racing along, I feel the lure of the kitchen. Sophie, the name Grigson is pretty famous in the world of food, isn't it? 2 generations of you, your mum before you and now you. So when you were a little girl, were you in the kitchen with your mother and you always had your fingers in the things that she was making?
I certainly did. And I was brought up in a house where we had a kitchen, not entirely dissimilar to this, with a big scrub pine table in the centre. And the kitchen was totally the heart of the house. And I would help. I mean, it was just the normal thing to do. I would do a little bit of here, do a little bit of that. And so I kind of picked up things as I went along. I don't ever remember my mother giving me a cookery lesson exactly, but you kind of just did what she said and that was it.
And yet you didn't go into cookery or indeed into writing because your father was a poet, so you'd think that you might have done. Instead you went into the pop world.
Enjoyed that enormously. But, I always used to look at older people working on prop videos and feel a bit sad for them. So I got out of it before I got too old.
But you worked on some terrific productions, didn't you? I mean, with people like Bonnie Tyler.
Yep, that was my very last one. It was a magnificent video with Bonnie Tyler in a cast of 73 and a whopping budget of the kind that you don't get, I believe, now. Very exciting to work on. Very exciting.
So what got you out of it then, if it was so exciting?
Well, I knew I was never going to make it to be a good producer, and somebody asked me to write something for the Sunday Express magazine. So I started off, about food. 50 ways with potatoes.
Are there 50 ways with potatoes?
They were very simple variations.
But you've got some pretty specific ideas, haven't you, about how we should buy food, grow it, cook it and eat it?
Hugely, and I'm very, very keen on saying that I'm a cook, not a chef, because I work purely in domestic food. I write about cooking, in real kitchens. It's great when you've got the time to, maybe at the weekend to cook something special for a dinner party, but real cooking is about feeding a family or feeding yourself, feeding your partner, day after day after day, and that's the tough bit of cooking.
And presumably this great passion that you have for your food is what has led you to being involved with the charity.
Absolutely, because I'm very, very keen that children should learn how to cook from a very, very young age. And I don't think you can hardly be too young. Once your children can stand up, they can begin to help.
And I agree. Well, it never did me any harm. Moving on with the search, and there's no stopping Jojo. She's found this strange-looking item in the garage, which John tells us is an earthenware inhaler. Inhalers were commonly used in the late 19th century when people became ill with respiratory conditions such as asthma and bronchitis. John packs it off to auction with a £15 to £20 price tag. And Sophie helps to bring our target firmly into focus with these pince-nez, rather quirky gilt-rimmed spectacles. At £20 to £30, here's hoping that they'll catch the bidder's eye on sale day. I've found this collection of costume jewellery, but it looks like John has uncovered something a little more stylish. Is it something our cook will be happy to part with?
Where did you find that?
In your daughter's bedroom.
That's not where it's meant to be. She's had her eye on this, and actually I do understand why, because it's very, very pretty. And
So what's the story behind it?
Well, again, this was given by a friend.
Well, all I can say is you have some very, very generous friends. And when I opened the box, I got quite excited because I saw this mark here, George Jensen, a very important Danish silversmith, 19th century silversmith, whose company is still in existence today, who make very, very nice jewellery, very good name in jewellery and silversmithing. But I've looked all over the piece and cannot find any other George Jensen mark. So I think that the necklace and the box don't belong together. They do look nice together. However, it is gold. It's marked 585, which is the continental equivalent of our 14-carat gold. And this pendant is articulated, and then you've got these horizontal bars cutting across with these pearls set in each end.
And are they real pearls?
They are real pearls, yes. They are very nice pearls, cultured pearls, but nevertheless, it's quite unusual, quite distinctive. And I wouldn't have been surprised to have found George Jensen's mark on it because it's quite avant-garde. Well, I think if we were to put this into auction, we should have no trouble in this reaching 150, 250 pounds, something like that.
Oh, fabulous. That is so good, isn't it?
Great, we've got another item towards our total today.
Yes.
Very good. I think we ought to put this somewhere safe and not in your daughter's bedroom.
Absolutely right. Let's hide it away.
I reckon Sophie's daughter might be in for a bit of a telling off, but it is a big addition towards our £500 target. Sophie digs out a lacquered tray and 2 coasters made from papier-mâché. John thinks they'll fetch at least £10 to £20. I've been tackling this rather cramped room, and I think I've spotted a gem. Sophie?
Yeah?
John, have I got a bit of Grigson history here?
I haven't looked at this for so long. This is my first typewriter, my only electric typewriter. I can remember I was so excited when I got this. It was right at the beginning of my writing career. I think I wrote my first book on it, in fact.
They were state-of-the-art, weren't they then?
Oh, I was very with it then, yes.
So when you say that you wrote your first book, was that Sophie Grigson, Food for Friends?
This is it, and this is a first edition.
Wow.
Yeah, the very first one I wrote. In fact, this is almost the first copy of my own book that I ever held. This was published in 1987. I wrote it on this, and I had that probably for a year or so beforehand, so 85, 86.
So when you look at it, it does echo the 80s, doesn't it? Those very sharp lines when you look at it.
It sort of goes with shoulder pads, doesn't it?
But the name of the typewriter, Smith Corona, is very well-known producers who started in the Victorian period, back in about 1886. And one of their claims to fame is they produced the very first typewriter to use upper and lower case.
So what would people use these for nowadays, John?
Well, there are a couple of markets for outdated typewriters. There are the collectors of the classic models, the real kind of iconic Victorian and early Edwardian ebonised models. And there are people that refuse to move on and update to a more modern laptop, so that still want to use these to work on. And so they go to online auction sites to buy spares and models that they love, that they're very happy and familiar with using. So would you sell that as a bit of a fun object, along with a first edition copy of your book that it was written on?
Yeah, I would. You know, I've hung on to it for years just because I couldn't bear to get rid of it. But I think now the time has come to pass it on to somebody who will really love it.
So with that kind of provenance, John, what do you think we might get for it at auction?
Well, I think at auction, this is a fun item. We ought to be looking at about £40 to £60. Hopefully we'll do a bit better than that. Is that okay with you, Sophie?
I'm happy. I'm happy.
It holds fond memories for Sophie, so I hope it doesn't disappoint when it goes up for sale. We're making cracking progress so far, so I think I can leave the search in John's capable hands for a while. Well, clearly thirsty work this morning. Even the cats are having to have an extra drink. But tell me much more about this charity.
Well, this charity is the Kids Cookery School. It's based in Acton, in London, and the school works in two ways. Children can go, parents can take the children there and pay for lessons. But they also do a lot of free lessons for local children working through the schools, and often children who come from families who don't cook, who know very, very little about food. And that's why this school is so important, because they really give children of all ages, from 3 upwards, really up till late teens, they give them a chance to just react to food, to learn a little bit about healthy food, but I think most importantly to learn to enjoy cooking and eating, and to see it as a social occasion. I started my kids off when they were very, very young, basically as soon as they could really stand and on their own.
Surprise, surprise.
But they help make bread, and bread is the great way, I think, to get any child into cooking, because you help them and then they can play with the dough and make their own rather odd-shaped rolls and eat them, and it's great.
Jojo, have you seen any of this in action yourself? I mean, what about your own children? Did they learn how to cook?
Yes, my children love cooking, especially my son. And I think it's really important that boys are not taught, because I'm sure they'd resist being taught how to cook. But if, cooking is fun for children, like you're saying, playing with bread dough, I think that really appeals to boys, and that's really important, especially as they get older.
I would love to see every child leave school knowing how to cook 10 main meals. And it could be as simple as a lamb chop with some nice potatoes and vegetables. I mean, I'm not talking complicated, but just if they could do that, then they have a skill that lasts them a lifetime.
Well, that £500 is clearly going to make a lot of difference to a great many young people. But we'd better get back to work if we're going to raise the rest of the money. And I'm afraid, Spice, it's only you that can stay and have another drink. We'll see you later, dear. Sophie made some interesting points there, and cooking certainly is something about which she feels very passionately. Good old John has been hard at work, and he's found a collection of stoneware jars in the living room. Valued at £20 to £30, they're another step towards our total, but we are still nearly £100 short. So I need to work a little magic with my final find. John, I don't know what you make of this as an auction item, but it looks to me like something that should have lots of ice and 2 very good bottles of champagne in it. Is this an old family heirloom of yours, Sophie?
No, it was given by a friend of mine. It belonged to her mother, and that's all I know about it.
Well, it's a very interesting item. Well, date-wise, I would say late 19th century.
Really?
It's an export piece, very popular during those periods. Lots and lots of export trade coming from China, right from the 1870s right through to the 1930s. There's an interesting maker's mark on the bottom there. It's Luen Wo, a company based in Shanghai. They're very famous exporters, and they were listed as silver and gold engravers, but they did deal in all manner of Oriental goods, silks, lacquerware, and furniture. It does look to me to be Chinese silver, or coin silver as it's often referred to. I think that's a really wonderful object. And again, when you look at the detail, these are hollow applied dragon handles. I've seen them before on other Lengwo pieces, and the work around the body is amazing. This has all been embossed by hand.
What amazing craftsmanship.
Isn't that extraordinary? To think you had to do that sort of all back to front?
Yes,
And,
yes.
and to be able to see what you're doing. Isn't that amazing?
You don't often see big, impressive bowls like that in Chinese silver.
In which case, John, what sort of value would you put on it?
Well, I'm pretty sure that this is Chinese 800 grade silver. I'd like to do a test at the auction house to make sure of that before we describe it as such. So I'm going to put a mid-range estimate. I'm going to say 250 to 350 pounds. If it is silver, I think it'll make more than that. If it isn't, then it's going to make slightly less. But 250 to 350 pounds is what it ought to make. It's a lovely thing.
That's a pretty long way towards our £500 target, isn't it, Sophie?
How exciting it is indeed.
Shall we call in Jojo so
Yeah,
she
sure.
can share the good news with us?
Jojo, are you there? Come and join us.
Very exciting.
Jojo, you've joined us at the most important moment of the rummage, when I tell you what I think we might be able to make at auction, taking the lowest estimate on everything that John has looked at, and bearing in mind that this could make us around £300.
Isn't that incredible?
We think we should be able to make not £500, but £660.
Oh, that's fantastic.
You can train an awful lot of cooks.
Absolutely. We can almost repopulate the whole of Acton with great cooks.
And beyond.
And beyond.
It's been such a pleasure looking around Sophie's cosy cottage today, and we've got a great mix of items heading off to the sale room. There's the unusual sovereign holder, which John valued at £40 to £60. Sophie's much loved and well-used typewriter. We're hoping that will also make £40 to £60. But the crowning glory is surely that oriental bowl I spotted in the hallway. Valued at £250 to £350, it accounts for half our original target. And we'll find out whether or not it's silver on the day of the sale.
30.
Still to come on Cash in the Celebrity Attic, Sophie can't quite believe her luck.
I am amazed. I am amazed.
And can we keep our calm when the bids start to fly?
I'll give you the 50 to 1,050, 1,100.
Stick around to find out. Well, it's been a week or two now since we joined Sophie Grigson in that charming house of hers right in the heart of the Oxfordshire countryside. And we were looking there, of course, for items that we could bring to sell today here at Chiswick Auctions in West London. Now, her aim is to raise £500 to donate to a charity that's very close to her heart, the Kids Cookery School. So let's hope that we can really do the business when her items go under the hammer today. I sense a real buzz in the sale room, and looking around I've noticed that Sophie's items are in the company of some great antiques and collectibles. So I'm feeling really confident about today, and I'm looking forward to catching up with our expert, John Cameron. I wonder if he's feeling as positive as I am. Drink to me only with thine eyes, John. Hey, you could get a good bevy in there.
You certainly could, couldn't you?
And I see it's on the front cover of the catalogue today.
Yes, they've certainly done us proud here at Chiswick. It's a nice piece, and I think it deserves its place on the front cover.
What else do you think will do well for her today, then?
Well, we have that very distinctive and avant-garde 14-carat gold and pearl pendant necklace.
Yes, it's very elegant, that, isn't it?
A very nice piece. And also that wonderful little child's chair in the Queen Anne style. Super quality in construction and super condition. High hopes for that.
I think we're going to be cooking with gas today when these things go under the hammer.
Let's hope
Should we
so.
go find Sophie?
Come on.
Just as I hoped, John is full of enthusiasm for Sophie's items. If John's eagerness rubs off on the bidders, then we're really in for a promising result for the charity. I've spotted Sophie and Jojo across the room. Hopefully, Sophie isn't having second thoughts about letting one of her items go. Sophie, Jojo, are you thinking just how lovely that would look with a nice little black number for evenings, are you?
Yes, I'm slightly reluctantly saying goodbye to it and giving it, the box a little stroke. It is a very lovely thing.
And your daughter never persuaded you to keep it?
No, I just kept it quiet. Funnily enough, she didn't mention that it had gone from her room.
Well, we think it's going to do rather well because we've had quite a lot of interest in it, haven't we, John?
We have been a number of people trying it on, which is always a very good sign.
And did you notice that your silver bowl is on the front cover of the auction catalogue?
I saw that, and not only is it on the front cover, but it's also in pole position at the front there. And I did notice a couple of people getting it out and having a good look at it and discussing it, so there's obviously a bit of interest.
But we've also, of course, got, I think, the star item of the day. The Sophie Grigson typewriter and cookery book. Oh, no, it's a first edition, Sophie.
Oh, yeah. I hope it'll sell. I'm not entirely sure that it's going to make a huge amount, but hey, if it goes, and that's great.
Well, I think it'll do quite well, don't you, Jojo?
I do. I think you've got a lot of fans out there who love your cooking.
Yeah, but I wouldn't buy it.
Shh. There's lots of people around and we don't want them to hear you say that. I think we should go and take our positions before you do any more damage. Let's go then. We still have to find out whether or not that bowl is silver. But the sale has started, and first up is the interesting little item that John discovered in Sophie's lounge. And I saw you looking around earlier. You're not thinking of bidding on things, are you?
I would love to.
There's a few things that are rather attractive, but we're going to try and hold back and not spend money.
Well, good, because what we want is for them to spend on your things, including what's coming up next, which is the silver sovereign case.
I know.
No sovereigns in it, though.
Well, you can't have everything, can you? I think I might have kept the sovereigns after what we learnt about them.
But what do we reckon, John?
Well, it is Edwardian and it's in nice condition and they are popular items, so we're hoping for £40 to £60.
Is that worth £50 for it? Is it worth £20 for it? Sold me £20 for it, but it's £20 at £20, say 22, £20, 22, 25, 28, 30, 32, 35,
Going up.
38. That's a bit so far at £35. We'll finish at £35, selling at £35, then all done at 35 and gone at 35 your bid. 35?
35. Bit underestimate there, John.
Well, I didn't quite strike gold with our estimate, our sovereign case, but nevertheless, that's still a couple of places for our cookery school, isn't it?
It is. Good start, I think.
Considering there's very little use for sovereign holders these days, that's not bad at all. Sophie, we've got the jelly moulds coming up now, the Staffordshire jelly moulds. Have you ever actually used them?
Oh, indeed I have. Yes, I've used them a lot, and my mum used them because they were hers. So I was brought up on jellies from those very moulds.
So what have we got on them, John?
Well, not a huge sum. We've got £10 to £15 for the 3 jelly molds. But a question for you, are they also good for blancmange?
Absolutely. Are you a blancmange man?
I am, and I don't think there's enough blancmange in the world.
I
these
agree,
days.
I agree.
It needs to make a comeback.
Definitely.
Lately, Trulli jelly moulds, what are they worth? £20. For the KitchenAid lot, £20, £10. But at 10, they give me 12 at £10. But at £10, give me 12. 12 minutes, 12, 15, 18. Are you out already? 18, 20. Trying to embarrass you into it. 20, 22, 22, 25. At £22, number please, nice and high. 181.
Hey, that's why you've beaten the estimate.
I wonder whether they wanted them for jelly or blancmange. That's the question.
I'm afraid neither, John, as it seems our buyer's culinary skills are not quite up to Sophie's standards. His plans for the moulds are a little less inspiring.
I'm a great fan of Sophie in terms of her cooking. I wish I could emulate her, but the jelly moulds are just going to look really good in terms of my Scotch pine dresser at home.
Next up is the 19th century S. Moore & Son earthenware inhaler that John valued at £15 to £20.
£10 for it. Thank you, a bit at 10, give me 12 at £10. At £10, a bit at 10, give me 12 at £10. Late bit at £10, thank you, sir, at £10.
Our jelly mould buyer is on a roll as he also bids for the earthenware inhaler and gets it. Can't wait to find out what he has in mind for this unusual purchase.
I must admit, not having looked too closely and not realising it was actually an inhaler, I'm sure I'll find a use for it, but it certainly will look good for flowers, I think.
Aha! A tip for us all there. Always check the catalogue and read the description before buying. But he seems happy nonetheless. Now, I have to admit that the typewriter is very different to the rest of our lots on sale today, so I'm slightly apprehensive. And I think Sophie's feeling the pressure too.
That typewriter has hung around with me for years and years now, and I'm actually quite glad to see the back of it, really. Although I'm rather nervous because I don't understand why anybody would want to buy it, to be quite honest. So we'll see. Maybe we'll be lucky.
For 38, where should we start? £20 for it, here we go, £20. Something £20, please. I'm going to £20, £20, £22, £20, £22, 25, 25, 28, 30, 32, 35, 32, 35, 35, 38.
38?
£38, you'll bid at £38, only at £38, I'm selling it all done at £38. £38 will be done, £38 you'll bid, 167, £38, thank you.
I am amazed. I am amazed.
Phew, I think we all held our breath for a while during that sale. But it came up trumps, reaching £38, just £2 under John's lowest estimate. So far, we've made £127, so there's still a way to go before we get anywhere near that £500 target. But when the wooden box valued at £10 to £15 is shown to the room...
At £22, at £22, 85 at £22 all done. At £22 sold, £22 it goes.
Yoo-hoo! We're all pleased to see it sell for twice its lowest value. It's been steady so far with all of Sophie's items selling, but we could really do with an impressive sale to get us at least halfway towards that £500.
Number 68 now, the Queen Anne or George I style walnut chair there, Charles armchair.
Is this a chair that you sat in as a child, or that your children have sat in?
Oh, I wish. No, it wasn't. But, you know, what I would really like is for it to go to somebody who does have children and who would use it for what it's meant to be used for.
It's a lovely piece, real sturdy chair, and it just oozes quality of design, quality of craftsmanship, and excellent condition. 3 pluses for me. My favourite lot of the auction, £80 to £120. Let's see how it goes.
I've bid about 5 places, I've bid £100. Bid not bidding, I've bid there, 110 there, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 190, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, 260, 270, 280, 290, 300, and 10, 320, 330, 340, 350, 360, 370, 380, 390, 420, 440, at £420. Stand a bit of £420, take £430 belts to everybody else. At £420 we done for £420, a nice chair, go £430 back in. At £430, take £440, thinking about it, at £430 all done, £440. £430 going, thanks a bit at £430. £430.
Yes! Oh. Thank you. Fantastic. Isn't that exciting? You were so off the
I know, I'm so flabbergasted. I mean, I said it was my favourite lot and then it was quality, but there we are.
It was so exciting watching the bids going up on that chair, and I'm delighted with the price. It's a good price for it. I think it'll end up in a happy, happy home.
That's a great end to the first half of the sale. So, how is our charity fund doing so far? You wanted to raise £500?
It's going to be a double, isn't it?
Well, I tell you, you've already made 557.
Oh!
But there's lots more stuff to come, of course, in the second half. We've got that beautiful necklace. We've still got the silver bowl to come, which is on the front of the catalogue. I tell you what, I think we should all go and have a lie down for 5 minutes. Get over the excitement. Save the excitement for the second half of the auction.
OK, let's go.
Whilst Sophie and Jojo take a break, it's a good time to remind you that if you're planning to go to auction, then remember that charges such as commission apply whether you're buying or selling. Your local saleroom will be able to give you all the details. I only take my eye off the girls for a second, and already Sophie's taken a shine to a collection of interesting lithographs.
Well, do you know, if I were going to buy something here, I think I'd rather fancy this young lady and her friends as well. She's a fine figure of a girl, isn't she? Look, she's got these great sticks here. I don't know why. Maybe she's doing some dry slope ski practice, although she's forgotten her skis. And she's got this fabulous hat. Turkish, maybe? I don't know. Look, he's good too, isn't he? But I am not here to bid for things. I'm here to sell and to raise money for the kids' cookery school, so no pictures for me.
I'm glad to hear it. And it's time for our first lot of this afternoon's sale. It's the small papier-mâché tray and 2 coasters, estimated at £10 to £20. Much of a market for papier-mâché these days, John?
Well, there can be, but condition is everything, and they have got a bit of wear to the gilding. We've got 3 pieces here, 2 of Oriental inspiration and 1 Rococo style, but who knows? There may be some papier-mâché collectors here today.
£20, £20, £10, worth more, £10, a bit at 10, they give me 12 at £10. That can't, 12, thank you, 15, 18, 18, 20, 20 over there. We've got 3 people bidding. Now 20, you're going to be 22. Top of the estimate at £20 at £20, going to be 22 at £20 at £20, going to be 22 now. £20 all done. 21, thank you, 22. 22, 22, that's it, 22. 23 at 22, at 22. At 22, at 22, at 22.
Considering their condition, they didn't do too badly. As we've already smashed our £500 target, the pressure is off. But we do want to make as much money as possible for the charity. So we're all pinning our hopes on the 19th century Oriental bowl that's coming up later on in the sale. And that includes auctioneer Tom Keane.
John Cameron's done a lot of research on that since his value. He was a bit sort of uncertain about the value. And he came back to us with some good names and good silversmiths in China. So we put that in the catalogue thanks to him, and that will fly.
I do hope you're right, Tom. But we're going to have to sit tight as we have a few more lots to go before it goes under the hammer. So we've got Great Granny's gold-plated glasses coming up now.
We have indeed, and I think they call lorgnettes. So those little ones on a handle.
But it makes a lovely picture, doesn't it? Imagining one of your ancestors with them perched on the end of her nose.
Oh yes, I think peering down her nose at the world.
£30. £20 worth that. A bit of £20 at £20, going to be 22 at £20, going to be 22 at £20. We've got 22 there, 25, 25, 28. 28 there, 30, 32, 35, 38, 40, 42.
That's good.
40, bit of £40, going to be 42 at £40, take 2 at £40, take 1 down for £40, £40.
Oh, good.
Excellent price. Excellent price.
Great Granny would be delighted.
I bet she would. I'm rather hoping Great Granny isn't looking down on the sale of her specs. Selling for a respectable £40, that's double John's lowest estimate. And when the silver-plated jug, another of Great Grandma's treasures, goes under the hammer, it does okay, selling at £20. Everything is ticking over nicely, and Sophie and Jojo are in good spirits. And so they should be, as we've made £639 so far. So when the 3 brown stoneware jars valued at £20 to £30 are shown to the room...
£10 is lot, £10. Start me with £10, I'll pass the lot, £10 for it. No one likes with £10 then, they're not sold.
We all take it in our stride, as it's the first lot of the day to go unsold. Now, we're heading towards the end of the sale, and I'm really excited about the penultimate lot. It's the 14-carat gold and pearl necklace. John wasn't too sure that it was designed by the famous George Jensen, even though it is in a Jensen box. Also, it didn't have his mark. So, will that affect the hammer price?
It's about £100 for him. I'm a bit £100, 110, a bit of 110, 120, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180. I'm a bit £180, take 190, £180, 190, 200, 200, 210. At £200, you've got at £200, take 210 at £200. Without £200, large chance at £200. 373.
£200 over your lowest estimate, and we made our reserve.
We did indeed, and we sent an image to George Jensen. They confirmed it wasn't one of their designs. However, it was still distinctive, very nice, good quality, and somebody thought it was good enough to pay £200 for it.
Without a mark, we'll never know who made this beautiful necklace, but at least it went down well here today. So far, we've made £839. Can we break through the £1,000 barrier with our final lot? Well, we've got the big one now, Sophie. We've got that amazing Chinese punch bowl made, as it says in the catalogue, on the front cover, that it's white metal. Now, it doesn't say it's silver for a very special reason, John.
Yes, under the current Sale by Description Act, unless it's hallmarked British silver, we have to refer to it as white metal. Also, I found a top London dealer that specialises in the work of Wen Kuo. Hopefully, we're not too far away for him to have come here, view that item, and it may just make a little bit more than we hoped.
You ready for this one?
I am so ready for it, yes.
Here we go.
2 telephone bids. Start with £300, Rich, here we go. No more.
Starting at 3.
I'll take 20 now. £300 can be 320. 320 here. 340, 360, 380, 400.
Watch the telephones.
420, 440, 460, 480, 500.
£500.
500 there, new bidder. 520, 520, 550, 580. 600, 620.
Yes, oh my golly God.
£600, Isaac, £600, 620, 650, 680.
What?
680, 700, 720, 720, 750, 780, No, it's 750 in the highest. Who else wants to come in at £750? Do you want 780 there? 780 new bidder. 800. 780 bidder Tony. 800. 800. 820. 820. 850. 880. 900. And 20. 950. 980. £1,000. Give them 50. 1,050. 1,100. And 50.
This is unbelievable. And we're all in shock when it smashes the £2,000 mark.
2002. 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, £3,000. Giving the odds, 3001. Thank you, £3,000, £3,000 is on the phone over there. All out of £3,000, thanks to the bidder, £3,000, the other bidder, £3,000 will be done. All finished, all out, £3,000, thank you.
Oh, Sophie! Whoa, that is amazing!
I'm glad I did that bit of research now.
Three heavens, did!
It's amazing. That's so
£3,000.
exciting. That was,
Gosh, my heart
fantastic.
is beating.
Do you want to go and have a lie down?
The reason why that Chinese bowl made so much money, we managed to advertise on the website and got all the Chinese dealers in and the silversmiths in to have a right go at that, and it made 3,000. Fantastic result.
Almost 10 times over John's top estimate, and a huge contribution to the charity fund. It's blown us all away, and I'm sure that our final total will too. Now, £500 for your charity, which is the Kids Cookery School,
Yep.
was going to do rather a lot, wasn't it?
That was going to do wonderful things. It was going to provide places for a lot of children to come and learn a little bit more about cooking. It was going to provide some new equipment. But now...
Well, now, what do you think you can do with £3,839?
Oh, so much! Isn't that thrilling? Oh, they're going to be so pleased with that. And it will make a huge difference to a lot of children. Because, I know people think, cookery school for your cookery lessons, not very interesting, not very important, but they are so wrong, because that's going to change the lives of some young people and really the rest of their lives, and it could affect their health long term. So it's a great, great gift.
Sophie is over the moon after raising an amazing £3,839 at auction for her chosen charity, the Kids Cookery School.
The school is going to benefit enormously from this money. They are funded largely by donations, and this means that they can give so many more children free lessons, children who really need just to know the basics of nutrition and the basics of how to cook a decent meal.
Over the past 10 years, the charity has taught 17,000 kids to cook simple, healthy meals. Regular attendance to classes boosts the children's confidence and also helps to develop important everyday skills. It's run by Fiona Hamilton-Furley, who's been on board from the very start. She can't stress enough just how much the money will help.
It means that we can give away more places to children in need, and particularly get children with disabilities to come and learn to cook, maybe for the first time ever.